Hi everybody, welcome to the first video in a new series that I call Theme and Variation. You know, I used to take pictures of as many different subjects as possible on each dive. After all, there's so much cool stuff to see, right? However, though I captured a lot of different subjects, my images were pretty dull and routine. Well, I learned something important not too long ago. When you find a good and cooperative subject, don't just settle for one or two shots and then swim away looking for something else. If your subject and conditions allow, try what I call theme and variation. Experiment with different parameters such as distance to the subject, angle of approach, framing, aperture, strobe position, and others. I might also emphasize, try to never stress out the subject. Always know when to quit. In this video, I'm going to show you some images I took of a stargazer on a recent dive at the Blue Heron Bridge. I think I got some unique and interesting images by varying distance to subject, angle of approach, and framing. Let's check it out. Here is the first random shot I took after we spotted the stargazer. I checked my LCD information and histogram. The exposure looked okay, so I began my cautious, slow approach. My dive buddy took this shot of me after I tried to position myself directly in front of the stargazer, but before I really began my close approach. I wanted to capture a symmetric image of the fish. By the way, I was using a Nikon D7100 60mm macro lens and 1.4x teleconverter inside the flat port with a flipped back +10 wet lens in case the fish allowed a really close approach. Here's an image that I got after I had approached more closely, directly facing the fish. And I really like this image. It shows the nice symmetry. You can see the face, the eyes. However, instead of being done and leaving and seeing what else I could photograph on this dive, I went for the so-called theme and variation. The fish didn't seem to mind. I was shallow, had plenty of air, and my dive buddy was supportive. So as I got closer, here's a shot. I got a tighter shot of its face, just showing the eyes and the mouth. I then flipped my external +10 wet lens over my flat port, and I was lucky to get a really close super macro shot of some of the teeth. Kind of unusual. I then varied my framing. I switched to a vertical frame and composed the image to show only one eye in the upper left-hand portion of the image and a portion of its mouth in the lower right-hand. Kind of an unusual image, but I actually really like it. Now, the fish was being really cooperative. So I decided to back off slowly and try a different point of view. I approached from the side instead of in front of the fish. And here you can see a picture of me with the side approach. You can also note that I'm really close to the fish and my +10 diopter is still flipped over the flat port for really close super macro. The strobe is also pulled in very tight in order to illuminate the very close subject. Now here is a really interesting shot with a little different perspective. It shows the eye in the upper left-hand portion and now part of its mouth from a different viewing angle, a side view. I was in the sand trying to stay as low as possible and shoot up, not down on the subject. I then got an ultra super macro shot of its beautiful eye. I love that shot. Finally, I composed a vertical shot of the right side of its mouth, but reoriented the image to a horizontal aspect so it would be larger on the computer screen. Another unique image from experimenting with different distances, viewpoints, and framing. I even thought about trying some additional shots with an open aperture or with my strobe at an acute angle, but honestly I didn't want to stress out the fish or my dive buddy, and I decided that was enough. Well, thanks for tuning in. Rather than trying to shoot everything, I now try to be patient and find a subject that can be approached with no damage to the reef. And check this out the next time yourself. Take a few shots, and if conditions allow, try for the theme and variation. Experiment with distance, viewing angle, framing, and other parameters to try to create unique and interesting images. And also, remember not to stress out the subject. Always know when to quit. And if there's other photographers around, be considerate and give them a chance too. Thank you.